All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we are going to tackle something huge, the system design interview. And we're going to do it by breaking down a proven framework from Chapter 3 of Alex Exu's fantastic book, System Design Interview, An Insider's Guide. And look, let's just be real for a second, right? They are intimidating. The moment you see system design on an interview schedule, your heart kind of sinks a little, the questions feel massive, they're super vague, and you're left wondering, how on earth am I supposed to design a whole system in just 45 minutes?
Well, here's the secret, and it's a big one. It's not really about finding that one single perfect answer. The crazy thing is, the final design you land on, it's actually less important than the journey you take to get there. The process, you see, is the product.
So what's really going on here? Well, the interviewer is basically creating a mini simulation of a real workday. They're trying to figure out one thing. What would it be like to actually work with this person? They want to see if you can work together, stay cool under pressure, and take a fuzzy idea and turn it into a concrete plan, mostly by asking really good questions.
And on the flip side, they're actively looking for red flags. Stuff like over-engineering a simple problem, which just wastes time and money, or getting totally stuck on one idea and just refusing to listen to feedback. From a manager's perspective, these are huge signals that you might be tough to work with, and you absolutely want to avoid them.
Okay, so let's get into the meat of it. There is one single mistake that trips up so many candidates. But don't you worry, because there's a simple 4-step framework that will help you sidestep it completely.
The book gives us this perfect little character that we all know from school, right? They call him Jimmy. And you know who Jimmy is. He's that kid whose hand shoots into the air before the teacher even finishes the question. He's just so proud to have an answer before anyone else has even had a chance to think.
Now, that might have earned you a gold star back in school, but in a system design interview, that is a massive, massive red flag. Answering that quickly gets you 0 bonus points. In fact, all it does is tell the interviewer that you didn't bother to take the time to really understand the problem you're supposed to be solving.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's simple. Your first instinct should be to fight that urge to answer. You need to slow down, think, and most importantly, ask a ton of questions before you even dream of proposing a solution. So instead of jumping the gun like Jimmy, you're going to take control, and you're going to do it with this proven 4-step master plan. Let's break it down. All right, step 1, and honestly, this might be the most important step of them all, understanding the problem. This is the foundation for everything that follows. Your goal here is to basically become a detective. You have to gather all the requirements, all the constraints, before you draw a single box on that whiteboard. So you ask, what features are we actually building? How many users are we talking about? How fast do we need to scale? You're essentially drawing the borders around the problem space. Okay, so once you've laid that groundwork, you're ready for step 2, proposing a high-level design or blueprint. And I gotta stress the key word here. It is collaborate. You're not just presenting something. You are working with your interviewer to build it. So we're not talking about getting lost in the weeds here. This is the 30,000-foot view. It's a quick sketch of all the major pieces of the puzzle, your clients, your servers, your databases, and how they're all going to talk to each other. The goal is just to get them to nod their head and say, yep, that makes sense, before you dive any deeper. So let's make this real. Imagine they ask you to design a newsfeed system. After you've asked all your smart, clarifying questions, you might realize that the whole thing can be broken down into 2 main flows. And what you do is break that huge problem down into 2 core flows: how posts get published and how the feed itself gets built. And this right here, this is brilliant, because you've just shown them you can take a big, messy problem and break it down into logical, manageable pieces. That's a huge win. Okay, so you've gotten buy-in on the big picture. Now it's time to execute. We're on to steps 3 and 4, the deep dive, and then wrapping it all up with a strong finish. So the deep dive is where you really get to geek out, You get to show off your technical chops. You work with the interviewer to pick one of those components and you detail the heck out of it. Then, for the wrap-up, you pull back out to that higher level again, and you talk about trade-offs, bottlenecks, and how the system might need to grow in the future. And check this out. This chart shows you exactly how to budget your time. Look at that. Almost half the interview, 45%, is for the deep dive. That's your main stage. But the key is you can't even get there without nailing the first 2 steps. You have to earn the right to do the deep dive. All right, to pull all of this together, let's create a little cheat sheet for you. These are the key do's and don'ts to take with you into that interview. Seriously, go ahead and screenshot this one. It's that useful. On the left, the do's.
It's all about one thing: communication. Ask questions, talk through your thought process, treat them like a teammate. And on the right, the don'ts, well, that's where you see all the classic mistakes. Don't be a Jimmy, don't suffer in silence, and please never ever give up if you get stuck. It's totally okay to ask for a little hint.
So at the end of the day, what is the system design interview really about? It's not a pop quiz. It's a performance. It's about showing them your problem-solving process. And if you use this framework to guide you, you can turn something that feels scary into a real opportunity to show them just how good you are.